Hi everyone, Internet Vicious Book Reader here. Today I want to talk about Dallergut Dream Department Store by miya, translated by Joosun. The book is the author's debut into novel, and for a debut work, it immediately got to the top chart, which is quite impressive for a debut work. If I'm not mistaken, its initial publishing is through a crowdfunded site, which I didn't even know that some Kickstarter-like campaign that is funding book publishing exists. I'm not gonna lie, it's kinda cool for people to want to fund written books without any pictures or games included. The story of the book itself is marketed as a healing story, which means that at least from this book there's a market in Korea for an isekai genre, a subgenre of slice of life that are either originated or at least popularized in Japan about story of people's daily life that is usually really wholesome. Midnight Izakaya is one of them, or the most recent one from literature that I can think of is Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. The story of this book starts with our main character Penny sitting in her favorite cafe, trying to study more for her application to the Dallergut Dreams department store. She's passed the initial screening and she'll go to the interview part of the job soon, so she's been reading some standard Q&A that might come out during the interview. She's about to answer the question on which dream maker won the Grand Prix at the 1999 Dreams of the Year award when a furry paw rudely smacked at her table and answered the question for her. It's Asam Tenoctulica, which in our world is supposed to be some glow jellyfish that often appear at the beach, but here I guess it's some furry being whose job is chasing down sleeping customers that didn't realize they're sleeping yet and causes chaos on the street by going naked and running around. To help Penny with her interview with Dallergut, Asam gave her a book titled The Time God and the Three Disciples that is rumored to be important for Mr. Dallergut. The book told the story of the three disciples of the Time God. They are supposed to represent the future, past, and present, with the first disciple taking the future shard, the second disciple taking the past shard, and the third disciple taking the present shard. But the third disciple refused to take the present shard, but instead asked to be tested with sleep time. Both of the first disciples have their problem. The first disciple followers focus too much on the future that they soon lost their past and their memories, and since they have no past, they have no future. The second disciple followers are trapped in the good memories and they cannot let go or move on from the past since it means that they'll have to face loss once they move, making them stuck in the past. The Time God, seeing the failures of the first two disciples, decided to cut off bits of their shadows and gave it to the third disciples, and combining those shadows with sleep caused them to have dreams, reminding the people of what they've forgotten during those dreams. According to legends, the third disciple will eventually create the Dallergut Dream department store that Penny is currently trying to get a job in. So far, the book only gives us world building, while the name of the characters are just random faces that we know mostly nothing about. Dallergut and his difficulties to enter and his benefits seems to be inspired by the author's experience from working at Samsung, the company that owns half of South Korea. And just like the author managed to get hired to Samsung, Penny also managed to join after a very forced interview scene with Mr. Dallergut. Immediately after getting hired, Penny went to the Dallergut Dream department store to work. There's a weird exposition about people not wearing shoes because the street is very clean, and it makes the leprechaun shoe business to go down, which makes them also go into the dream business. But nevertheless, she arrived at work. The Dallergut store have many floors, each selling different kinds of dreams. The first floor, managed by the waiter, is selling one-of-a-kind dream, like a limited edition items for a one-out-of-one item. The second floor, managed by Vigo Myers, is selling generic dreams like your favorite childhood memories that you can keep dreaming over and over again. The third floor, managed by Mokburi, is selling fun activity dreams like becoming a hip-hop superstar or a superhero saving the world. The fourth floor specializes in night dream that Penny wanted to work in. It is managed by Speedo. Then the fifth floor that have no manager is where they put all the warehouse sale dreams. Penny met her high school friend Motel here that I think is literally scamming people with illegal price hike discount price quiz. The world building still didn't stop and the character we still know barely anything about. In the Before Coffee Gets Cold series, the world is easier to understand. It's just the normal adult life work like ours, but there's this one store where people can go to the past for a brief moment and that's it. You also immediately know the customer from knowing who they want to meet in the past and why they want to go there. It's quick, efficient storytelling. Because in this book, there's Florino Tulika, there's Leprechaun, there's a calming syrup pump for your coffee, there's onion milk, there's multiple stores selling dreams, but still there are so many questions about the world. How do people pay for their coffee and make a living? What is a calming syrup and what is an onion milk? Every world building just raises more questions instead of making it make more sense. We also still barely know the main character Penny. She's still just a random stranger we knew barely anything about that wanted to work on the Dallergut Dream department store for some reason. But for now, Penny got a job in the first floor assisting Mr. Dallergut and Mrs. Weather. She had to quickly learn about the people prioritizing their dream, about the eyelid scale of their customer, about the dream payment system where the customer pay with how satisfied they are with their dream, which mostly only add even more question and make the story more convoluted. Does this mean you buy food and pay rent with dream satisfaction currency? But the book never really answered that. Penny's regular job still goes on when one day Weather got some food poisoning and she needed Penny's help at delivering 2 glass bottle containers from the safe out to the bank. She went inside the store safe, which is apparently gigantic, and found the glass bottle full of flutters. She went to the bank with flutters, which you can apparently exchange with money in the bank, like it's a share which have its ebb and flow of price rise and drop. But someone stole one of the bottle of the flutters and she missed her time to deposit the one bottle left, so she went back to the store with nothing and apologized. And conveniently, Dallergut had a feeling that your one bottle can be used for something else. Ah-young was a regular at the Dallergut store since she was young, but she's now in her 20s and has been feeling very lonely because she's had no partner in life yet, which I guess is normal for people in their 20s to think that they have no one to be with. But there's this guy who have been in regular contact with her for work every Wednesday that she really liked, but she's not sure yet about her feelings, so she's even more not sure about his feelings. What she can do for now is keep buying meeting your crush dream at the Dallergut store. Meanwhile, Jong-seok is a guy nearing his 30s who is still somewhat affected by his ex. He's the guy that Ah-young had a crush on. He usually bought the meeting my ex-girlfriend dream from the store, but tonight, instead of the usual bittersweet dream, Dallergut offers him to drink the flutter that Penny failed to sell to make him feel more positive after waking up, which ends up with Ah-young contacting Jong-seok and they both went out with each other. The next job at the Dallergut store is a VIP customer coming over to sell some drinks. It's Baby Night Rockabye, who is on one of the questions Penny used to practice. She's one of the 5 people who won the Dream Grand Prix, and this time she comes over to bring a preconceived dream about someone having a baby, some kind of a precognition that they're Lisana Gaib or some shit. And since the dream for this precognition dream will tell them about their future, people immediately lines up to buy them, including Penny who want to see what her future husband might look like. But Dallergut, who usually goes back to his office, stay at the storefront making sure that the dream will go only to people who wanted them for the right reason. Which, if this is not the first time this kind of dream are being sold, people will have come ready for a satisfying answer. But I guess there's no such concept in this book. The dream doesn't always give you the dream that you wanted, so it might show them only a scene where they're chilling, drinking some tea instead of showing them the lottery number of something. So Dallergut wanted to make sure that the dream only goes to the right person. Enter Narim, an aspired screenwriter that has been watching movies, discussing it with her friends so she can learn more from the movies she watched. She's a friend of Ah-young from Penny's first job. She was looking for inspiration for a movie and she came to the Dallergut store looking for a good dream to have. She's not interested at all on seeing the future and has no expectation to it, and that's why Dallergut sold the precog dream to her. She forgot the dream as she woke up, but eventually it becomes a deja vu that inspired her to write a script about someone who can see other people's soulmate in dream but not her own love life. Penny's next job involves bad emotion, which in dream is called nightmare. She was confused on why people would want something that seemed to only be a negative experience because Dallergut has been making some deal with nightmare makers to sell nightmare at the 3rd floor of the store. A lot of it is just relatable nightmare like taking a test you're not ready for long after you graduated, or in the case of South Koreans having to re-enlist in military. It's the kind of dreams that you wake up and say, oh thank god it was just a dream. The story makes this as a heroic everyday struggle of people who have gone through the things that become their nightmare. It didn't go deep into the topic of course, so we got nothing about PTSD that woke people up and can make them cruel to even their loved ones. Instead, the story moves forward to Christmas. Nicholas, the president of the Dream Industry Staff Association, invited the store to the yearly Dreammaker meeting, but Weather and the other managers are not interested in coming, so Penny, who's curious about the meeting, decided to join him. Nicholas is that Saint Nicholas, Santa Claus. Since this is a world where leprechaun exists, it's only natural that Santa Claus is here too. The chapter is dedicated to more exposition and world building, with lots of new characters that doesn't seem like they will be very important to the story being introduced here. So does the next chapter going through the yearly Best Dream Award. It's just another world building chapter. I think the world building can be interesting. It's a reimagining of dreams into its own world where there are people who make this dream and sell it. But while it is a really fun and creative concept, its execution are very lacking. The author painted this amazing world that is separate from our world, but so much of the time is spent on random details of the world, like how feelings are flavors in the dream world, and how they have their own economy system and their coffee shop, and it doesn't really add much to the world besides lore. The world feels empty as a result. How do people live in this world? How are they born? Even the main character Penny remains barebone as a character in the book that doesn't feel like she has her own personality. Does she even have parents? How is her relationship with them? Or is she an orphan who managed to get work in the Dallergut store after her struggle? What does her life look like there? So much of her remains unknown, and she's the main character of the story where we follow most of the story. We see the world through her, so if she's not well fleshed out, the other characters are even worse. Just like Penny, it feels like the characters on the book doesn't have a life outside of the screen time they're getting in the story. Heck, NPCs in Skyrim feels more alive than these people. At least they tell us stories about how they used to be an adventurer before they took an arrow in the knee. Then the book ends with people who dream of who matters the most to them before the end of their life. It's the only chapter that had some emotional depth. But I think if you have the time, if you want the catharsis of the healing that this kind of story get, play to the moon. It's a better story with better characters and better storytelling compared to this book. I give this a 2. What do you think? Let me know if I missed anything, so leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it. See ya.